It was a bright Monday morning. The sun had just started to shine, and birds were singing outside my window. I woke up with a start. My eyes opened, and I looked at the clock. My heart started to race. It was already 7:45 a.m. My school bus would come in 15 minutes. I was supposed to leave at 7:30 a.m., but now I was late. I jumped out of bed quickly. My room was messy, clothes were everywhere, and my school bag was still on the floor. I quickly grabbed it and threw some books inside. I did not even have time to eat breakfast. Normally, I love my morning cereal, but today, I had no choice. I had to run. I ran to the bathroom, brushing my teeth fast. The toothpaste foam was in my mouth, and I swallowed some by accident. I washed my face quickly and tried to comb my hair neatly. But no matter how fast I tried, my hair did not want to behave. I sighed. Time was running fast. "Mom, I'm late," I shouted. My mom came out from the kitchen. She was making breakfast for my little brother. She looked at me with surprise. "You're always late," she said, shaking her head. "Hurry up." I grabbed my shoes and ran to put them on. But as I bent down, I tripped over my backpack. I fell on the floor with a loud thump. My books scattered all around. I cursed softly under my breath. I picked them up as fast as I could. Finally, I ran to the door. My mom was calling, "Don't forget your lunch." I grabbed my sandwich from the table. I was now running so fast, my legs felt like they were moving by themselves. Outside, I saw the bus coming. The bus driver was looking at his watch. My heart sank. I had only seconds to reach it. I ran faster than I had ever run before. My backpack was heavy, and I could feel it pulling me down. My legs were tired, but I could not stop. Then, I heard the bus horn. I ran even harder. My shoes were slippery on the wet road. My sandwich fell out of my hand, and I almost slipped again, but somehow, I managed to keep running. Just when I thought I would be too late, the bus stopped. The doors opened. I jumped inside, breathing heavily. I was sweaty, tired, and my hair was messy, but I made it. I found a seat and sat down, holding my stomach because it was hungry. As the bus moved away, I looked out of the window. The street was quiet, and the morning sun shone brightly. I smiled to myself. I made it. Just in time. But little did I know, being late today was only the beginning of a long, challenging day. Something unexpected was about to happen at school, and I was not ready for it. The bus moved slowly through the streets. I tried to calm myself down. My heart was still beating fast, and my clothes were sticking to my back because of sweat. I looked around the bus. Most students were talking quietly. Some were reading, and a few were sleeping. I felt a little embarrassed. I always liked to be on time, but today, everything went wrong. I tried to eat my sandwich, but I realized it was cold and a little squished. I took a bite anyway. Better than nothing, I thought. My stomach grumbled loudly, and I felt guilty. I had skipped breakfast, and I knew it would make me tired later. The bus stopped at the school entrance. I stood up and held the rail tightly. My backpack felt heavier than ever. I wished I had packed it better yesterday. The bus driver gave me a small smile. "Late again, huh?" he said. I nodded, too embarrassed to answer. I ran from the bus to the school gate. The playground was full of students. Some were playing basketball, and others were talking in groups. I could see my best friend, Sarah, waving at me. I ran toward her. "You're late," she said, laughing. "Again." "I know," I said, trying to catch my breath. "I overslept, and everything went wrong." She giggled. "Well, at least you made it before the bell." I smiled, but deep inside, I was worried. Today was the day of the big math test, and I had not studied properly. I had stayed up late last night trying to finish my homework, and now I was exhausted. I went to my classroom and quietly sat down. My teacher, Mr. Lim, was already writing on the board. He looked at me and raised his eyebrows. "Running late again, I see," he said with a small smile. I nodded and whispered, "Yes, sir." I opened my notebook and tried to review some formulas, but my mind was foggy. My hands were shaking slightly from running. The other students were calm, some whispering last-minute notes to each other. I wished I could be like them. Suddenly, the principal came into the classroom. Everyone looked surprised. "Good morning, students," he said loudly. "We have an announcement. There will be an unexpected inspection in all classes today. Be ready." My stomach dropped. Inspection. Today. Of all days, I thought. I was already tired, hungry, and nervous about the test. Now, I had to make sure everything in my desk and bag was perfect. I quickly started organizing my things, throwing away scraps of paper and pens I didn't need. I felt the pressure rising. My head was spinning, and I thought, why does everything happen at once? The bell rang. Mr. Lim called. "Open your test papers." My hands shook as I picked up the sheet. I took a deep breath and tried to focus. I had to forget about being late and just do my best. Little did I know, the test would be much harder than I expected, and my morning struggle was only the first problem in a series of surprises. The math test was in front of me, and my hands were still shaking. I looked at the first question. It seemed simple at first, but my mind felt blank. I tried to remember what I had studied last night, but it was all mixed up. Numbers and formulas danced in my head, and I felt frustrated. I took a deep breath and tried to calm myself. I told myself, just take it slow. You can do this. I wrote the first answer carefully. Slowly, I started to feel a little more confident. But then I saw the second question. It was harder. My stomach twisted. I could feel sweat on my forehead. "Focus," I whispered under my breath. I looked around. Some students were writing quickly. Some were scratching their heads. I realized I wasn't the only one struggling. That gave me a little courage. After 10 minutes, there was a sudden loud knock on the classroom door. Everyone looked up. The principal walked in with a serious face. He looked at each desk and began checking our notebooks. My heart started racing again. Oh no, not now, I thought. I was already tired and stressed from being late. Now, I had to act calm and organized. I quickly straightened my books and made sure nothing was messy on my desk. The principal walked past me slowly. I tried to look confident, but I could feel my knees shaking. Everything seems fine here, he said finally, and moved to the next row. I let out a small sigh of relief. I thought maybe I could finally focus on the test. But the tension in the room made it hard to concentrate. I tried to work faster, but my pencil broke. I groaned softly and raised my hand. "Yes," Mr. Lim asked. "My pencil, it broke. Can I get another one?" I felt embarrassed. He nodded and gave me a spare pencil. I tried not to make it a big deal, but my mind kept racing. As I wrote, my thoughts went back to the morning. Running late, tripping over my bag, almost missing the bus, it all seemed like a long, stressful chain of events. I realized that being late had made me feel nervous all morning, and now it was affecting my test. I tried to ignore it. I took a deep breath and focused on one question at a time. Slowly, I solved a few problems. I could feel my confidence growing. Maybe I could finish the test after all. But just when I thought things were getting better, I heard a loud crash from the back of the classroom. Everyone turned around. One of the students had knocked over his water bottle. Water was spreading across the floor. Students jumped back, and some papers got wet. Oh no, I thought. The classroom was in chaos. My heart raced even faster. I wanted everything to be normal again, but it seemed like today would not let me have a calm moment. I took another deep breath. I told myself, I have to finish this test, no matter what happens. I bent my head and tried to focus on the numbers. Little did I know, the rest of the day would be full of more surprises. And my morning struggle of running late was just the first of many challenges. After the water accident, the classroom slowly returned to order. Some students tried to dry the wet papers, while others moved their bags away from the puddle. I focused on my test again, but my mind was tired. My head felt heavy, and my stomach still grumbled. Skipping breakfast was catching up with me. Just when I thought I could finally concentrate, the fire alarm suddenly rang. Beep, beep, beep. The loud sound shocked everyone. Students jumped from their seats. I could feel my heart pounding faster than ever. "Fire drill!" shouted Mr. Lim, trying to speak over the alarm. "Everyone, line up quickly and calmly." I grabbed my backpack and ran toward the door. My bag felt heavier than ever. I could feel the sweat running down my back. Outside, the playground was chaotic. Students were running in different directions, and teachers were trying to keep everyone in line. I finally found Sarah. "I can't believe this is happening," she said, laughing nervously. "It's like the whole day is against us." "I know," I said, trying to catch my breath. "First late, then test, then water, now this." We joined the line of students waiting for the teachers to check the roll call. The principal was there, counting everyone. I felt nervous again, worried I might get in trouble for being late in the morning. But the principal didn't say anything to me. I let out a small sigh of relief. The fire drill lasted about 15 minutes. We stood outside, waiting in the cold morning air. The sun was high now, and the day felt longer than ever. I tried to stretch my legs, but my body felt stiff. My arms ached from holding my heavy backpack, and my legs felt tired from running in the morning. Finally, the alarm stopped, and we were allowed to go back inside. The classroom looked messy again. Some students' papers were still wet, and the smell of water lingered in the air. Mr. Lim asked us to sit down and continue the test, but many students looked tired and distracted. I opened my test paper again. My hand shook slightly as I picked up my pencil. I tried to focus, but my mind kept thinking about everything that had happened. Running late in the morning, almost missing the bus, the messy classroom, the fire drill. It was too much. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "You can do this. Just finish it." I tried to ignore the chaos around me and focus on the numbers. Slowly, I started solving the problems again. But then, the loud sound of a phone ringing interrupted my thoughts. Someone in the back row had forgotten to turn it off. The teacher sighed, and the students groaned. I felt even more stressed. Could anything go right today? Despite all the distractions, I tried to stay calm. I told myself, one step at a time. Focus on what you can control. I bent my head and worked quietly, ignoring everything else. By now, I realized that today was teaching me something important. Even if I was running late or things went wrong, I could still try my best. I could still stay calm, even when everything seemed impossible. Little did I know, the biggest surprise of the day was about to happen after school, and it would test me in a way I never expected. The school day finally came to an end. My head was aching, my stomach was growling, and my legs felt like jelly. I packed my bag slowly, still thinking about the test, the fire drill, and all the chaos from the morning. I could hardly believe everything had happened in just one day. As I walked out of the classroom, I saw Sarah waiting for me. She smiled. "We survived," she said, laughing. I smiled too, but I felt exhausted. "Barely," I said. Outside, the playground was quiet now. Most students had already left, and the buses were waiting at the gate. I looked around for mine. The bus hadn't left yet, and I realized I had another chance to go home safely. "Hey, are you okay?" Sarah asked. I nodded. "Just tired," I said. "It's been a long day." We walked together to the bus. My backpack felt lighter now that the test was over. I could finally relax a little. But as I sat down, I realized something important. Despite everything, I had survived the day. I had been late, faced problems, and felt stressed, but I didn't give up. The bus ride home was calm. I looked out of the window at the streets passing by. The sun was starting to set, painting the sky with orange and pink. I thought about the morning running late, almost missing the bus, tripping over my bag. Back then, it had felt like the worst day ever. But now, I saw it differently. Every problem had a solution. I had run fast, stayed focused on the test, and even handled the fire drill and the wet papers. I realized that being late was not the end of the world. It had taught me a lesson. Stay calm, keep trying, and things will work out. When I got home, my mom greeted me. "How was your day?" she asked. I smiled tiredly. "It was challenging," I said. She laughed. "I can see that. You look exhausted." I went to my room, took off my shoes, and finally sat down. My backpack fell to the floor with a thud. I stretched and closed my eyes for a moment. I felt relief. I had made it through a difficult day. Later, I told my mom about everything: the late morning, the test, the water spill, the fire drill. She listened carefully and nodded. "I'm proud of you," she said. "Even when things went wrong, you didn't give up." I smiled. Her words made me feel better. I realized that sometimes, life throws surprises at you. Some are small, like running late. Others are bigger, like unexpected challenges. But no matter what happens, if you stay calm and try your best, you can face anything. That night, I went to bed early. I felt tired but happy. Today had been hard, but I had learned something valuable. Being late may have started my day badly, but it also showed me that I could handle more than I thought. As I closed my eyes, I whispered to myself, "Tomorrow, I will try to wake up on time. But even if I don't, I know I can survive the day." And with that thought, I fell asleep, ready for a new day and new challenges. The end.